Hello, RPGaDay number 25. What is the best way to thank a GM? I've really struggled with this video because, number one, I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to tell my players, old and new, how I wanted them to thank me. Because I don't believe I was any more special than they were putting up with me and joining me for the game. So I didn't put myself in a position to be thanked any more than they were. And I don't think any GM should understand that these players are putting up with you, putting up with your idiosyncrasies, and spending time with you because they want to as much as you want to spend time with them. The thanks that I really appreciated came out of the sessions and the stories and the conversations afterwards. So to direct it off of me and more generically, I think one way that I think is a good way to thank a GM is, and you can't consciously do this, this is a subconscious thing. The times after the session, suppose, for instance, you game all day and then you go to dinner together or have dinner together. The entire dinner conversation is about the game and how to further the story. I think that's one way that players can, or the GM can feel thanked without being consciously thanked. Another way that can be done consciously, but for some reason it just kind of subconsciously happened to me. Again, I'm trying not to make it about me, but it is about my experiences and how I felt thanked. Was during the college, I was gaming every week. Once I found the club, every Friday we'd get together. And so the more you game, the more time you have to evolve everything, every aspect of your game. My game evolved into a thing, into what became known as a Ron game. No matter what it was, there were certain things about my game that were common or fun or became characteristic of how I run. And some things were stupid, other things were fun, but my players loved them, and so I just continued them, sometimes consciously, sometimes not. But what it made my game feel like was special, and so the players themselves made my game feel special, that they were looking forward to it each week, finding other ways to help it evolve and find other ways to evolve those key characteristics. For instance, taxis. For some reason, for the longest time, taxis were very dangerous to be in, and I'm not really sure why. I don't remember having a bad experience in a taxi, although I do remember being in one as a child in New York City. So taxis became a thing for a long time. I haven't done those in a while, and maybe I'm overdue, who knows. I got tired of some of them, and so I've tried to deviate away from them at times, but there's still some I like to play on. So make them feel special. Another interesting thing that I never expected that my players consciously did for a while, for the 22 years that I ran with the same group, there were 4 core people that played in them, and then off and on would get new ones on the fringe, 2 or 3 new ones on the fringe that would last there for a year. But there were 4 or 5 core players that I had for a long time. And every Christmas that came around, because we played year round just about every 2 weeks, they got me a plushie Cthulhu, because I knew I had a thing for Cthulhu. I had a considerable collection of plushie Cthulhus. I say had, because once I got married and had to make room for 3 kids, they got sold along with a bunch of other stuff, gaming stuff. Got a decent price. They probably wouldn't appreciate that, but I did keep the little one. I still have the little one. Just to remind myself that my players appreciated me enough to buy me something for Christmas. There was a Santa Cthulhu, there was a Graduate Cthulhu, there was a Super Cthulhu, and there was the regular Cthulhu, I think, and a few others that I can't remember. So they got me a gift every year. It wasn't huge, and it wasn't, something every week, but it was nice, and I felt appreciated, even though I didn't really feel like I needed to be. So Game Masters do put in a little extra work to work on stories, but they're supposed to like that part, and it's the appreciation of those stories and the investment in those stories that really are the thanks that I look for. Not the trinkets, not the snacks, not whatever. I'm invested in the story, and I want you to invest in it as well. I appreciate it for your part of it. When I had more time, I gave each player a chunk of that story. I created the overall story arc, and then I looked at their background and said, how can I link them to this? I still do that a little bit, but not quite as involved as I used to. So that's how I thank my players, is to give them a piece and let them run it, or how I used to. Still try to. So I know that's kind of a lame answer. I don't expect presents. I don't expect anything. I just want you guys, you players, to enjoy what I've got for you on the table. Whether it's a massively crafted airship that I did, which is my new thing, really. Lately, I have been doing a lot more crafting and then forming the stories around those crafts. I've done that a couple of times. Or it's just a masterful formed story. It's the stories that I really want to tell. There's no definitive answer. It's just opinions and feelings and stuff like that. So for now, I'll sign off. Thanks for putting up with my rambling once again. And until next time, seek the wolf in thyself.